The decision wasn't easy. With job applications stacking up and rejections rolling in, James felt like he was shouting into an empty canyon. But then came a moment, a breaking point disguised as a lifeline. A local art competition was being advertised on every street corner, promising a life-changing cash prize. It was a field he hadn't touched in years. James hadn't designed or drawn anything since he gave up on his architecture dreams. The doubt crept in immediately. Who was he to think he could compete with the younger, more talented artists who frequented these competitions? Yet, as Ella sat beside him that night, doodling her dreams for a better life on an old notebook, her innocent smile ignited something within him, a whisper of belief. Maybe, just maybe, he could try. James dusted off his old drafting table, the one he had abandoned years ago, and began sketching long into the nights. He transformed their tiny kitchen into his art studio, using cardboard boxes to hold Ella's crayons, while he sharpened pencils down to their nubs. There were days when exhaustion from part-time warehouse shifts threatened to break his spirit. Kilometers walked through long, snowy routes, back pain standing in line to sell old electronics. It all tested him, but every time he thought of quitting, he would look at Ella's face and hear her voice saying, "I believe in you, Dad," and he would push on. Halfway to the competition deadline, James faced his greatest challenge yet. One particular evening, after spilling ink all over his nearly finished piece, he erupted in frustration. Slamming his tools onto the table, he declared that it was pointless. That was when Ella shuffled over, her small frame barely reaching his lap, holding her masterpiece of stick figures and stars. "It's not perfect," she whispered, "but it's mine. Don't stop just because it's hard." Her words, as simple as they were, hit him like lightning. He realized that mistakes and setbacks weren't failures. They were steps in the process of creating something beautiful. On submission day, James hesitated as he walked through the glass doors of the art gallery. Paintings and sculptures lined the hall, intimidating and magnificent. For a moment, he almost turned back, clutching his rolled-up sketch as though it was a toy compared to the masterpieces around him. But suddenly, a thought struck him. It wasn't about winning. It was about trying, about refusing to let fear dictate his life anymore. So he handed in his work without looking back. When the winners were announced weeks later, James wasn't among the grand champions. An initial wave of disappointment swept over him, but before it could settle, he received an unexpected call. A local architect had seen his work, a raw and emotional urban skyline with buildings climbing toward the stars, and wanted to offer him a position at their firm. It wasn't the cash prize, but it was an opportunity, an open door back into the world he once dreamed of. Tears streamed down his face as he thanked them, and when he got off the phone, Ella jumped into his arms, both unaware that the real prize was standing right there with him. Months later, James sat in a bustling office, drafting plans for a new cityscape. The frost on the windows was the same as it had been that December night, but the warmth in his heart had melted every piece of it. Looking at a picture of Ella taped to his monitor, he smiled, remembering every sacrifice and every sleepless night that led to this moment. The competition hadn't just reignited his career, it had reignited his spirit. Because life isn't about never falling, it's about refusing to stay down. James learned that no matter how dark the night, there's always a sunrise waiting if you keep pushing forward. And just like the skyscrapers he now designed, reaching toward the heavens is always possible, as long as you form the foundation with determination and love. So, what's your foundation? What's stopping you from building the life you dream of? Maybe it's time to pick up the tools, face the fear, and start designing your own destiny. Your breakthrough might just be one leap of faith away.